Einen wunderschönen Freitag. Hallo. Hallo. Ah, so, jetzt haben wir's. Hallo. Komm. Einen schönen Freitag wünsche ich euch. Ja, wer sich jetzt vielleicht fragt, warum ist der Typ online? Der wollte doch eigentlich heute Pen and Paper spielen. Machen wir gleich. Aber um 19:45 geht erst quasi dort treffen wir uns da erst. Und ich dachte, ich schiebe da ein bisschen was gerade dazwischen, weil ich gerade Zeit habe. Und zwar das Spiel, das wahrscheinlich einem Stanley Gilbert am gerechtesten wird, nämlich The Stanley Parable. Falls jemand von euch schon mal von diesem Spiel gehört hat, wisst ihr, was ich gleich meine. Falls ihr das Spiel noch nicht kennt, werdet danach auch nicht wirklich schlauer sein. Also, die Sache ist, eigentlich hätte ich schon streamen müssen, als ich das Spiel eben gestartet habe. Und zwar habe ich das letzte Mal testweise gestartet und das Spiel fragt einen nach der Uhrzeit. Da habe ich eine Uhrzeit eingegeben. Bin bis ins Hauptmenü. Habe das Spiel beendet. Jetzt eben wollte ich, damit ich hier den schönen Screen habe, das Spiel schon mal starten. Was macht das Spiel? Es fragt mich schon wieder nach der Uhrzeit. Dachte ich mir, ja, interessiert mich jetzt nicht. Ich skippe das gerade und gehe ins Menü. Was macht das Spiel? Flamet mich dafür, dass ich die Uhrzeit geskippt. Ja, wirklich. Hat es. Ich habe Dialoge durchklicken müssen, weil ich eine andere Zeit genommen habe, als die ich davor angegeben habe. Und es natürlich auch noch die vorausgewählte Zeit war. Und das Spiel deswegen meint, ich gebe mir nicht die Mühe, die richtige Uhrzeit einzugeben. So ein Spiel ist das. Naja. Das Spiel hat mich freundlich darauf hingewiesen, wenn ich das nächste Mal das Spiel starte, ich doch bitte die richtige Uhrzeit angeben soll. Deswegen werde ich das Spiel gleich neu starten und die korrekte Uhrzeit angeben. Ein tolles Spiel. Naja, deswegen mache ich genau das jetzt auch. Ich starte das Spiel kurz neu und gebe auch brav die richtige Uhrzeit an. Spiel irgendwas sagen lasse. So. Ich will schon mal auf Ingame switchen. Ich soll die aktuelle Uhrzeit angeben. Und das machen wir jetzt auch. 18:21 Uhr. Also, 6, Entschuldigung. 6:21 PM. Hallo Heiko. Achso, nein, die ist nicht vom Spiel. Das ist noch Epidemic Sound. Ich mach mal jetzt den Ton vom Spiel an. So. Die aktuelle Uhrzeit, 6:21. Ja? Damit das Spiel mich nicht wieder flamet. Toll, du hast tatsächlich die Zeit eingestellt, nicht nur 12 Uhr. Ich hoffe, der Text wird nicht gleich immer da sein. Ich mach kurz die Kamera ganz kurz weg, damit ihr den Text sehen könnt. Normalerweise ist da, glaube ich, nicht so viel Text im Spiel. Einen Augenblick lang war ich besorgt, dass du das alles hier nicht ernst nimmst, aber du hast mir das Gegenteil bewiesen. Natürlich kann ich nicht wissen, ob 6:21 PM überhaupt die richtige Zeit ist. Zum Kuckuck, soweit ich weiß, könnte es gerade tatsächlich 12 Uhr sein. Pass auf, wir gehen der Sache mit einem weiteren Regler auf den Grund. Wie präzise ist 6:21? Relativ präzise, weil wir haben ja jetzt 6:22. Dieses Spiel. Weißt du, du solltest wissen, dass ich ungeachtet der Präzision der Uhrzeit einen Mordspaß am Anpassen dieser Einstellungen habe. Ich habe das Gefühl, mehr über dich zu erfahren und darüber, wie du Einstellungen vornimmst. Es ist gut, Daten zu sammeln. Ich wünschte, ich hätte mehr Regler, aber wir sind alle Regler durchgegangen, die ich habe. Vielleicht kann ich ein paar neue Slider erfinden, um neue Daten über dich zu sammeln. Sollte nicht zu schwer sein. Ja, lass mich ein paar neue auftreiben. Sollte fertig sein, wenn du das nächste Mal das Spiel startest. Ach. Will ich das wirklich sehen? So. Ich habe den Text auf Deutsch gestellt, wohlgemerkt. Weil das Spiel hat eigentlich... Es hat einen Erzähler und der redet sehr, sehr, sehr viel. Der ist so Hauptteil dieses Spiels. Der redet auf Englisch. Aber damit ihr halt Untertitel habt, habe ich es auf Deutsch gestellt. Also, die Dingens, die Untertitel. Der Rest ist auf Englisch. Und wollen wir mal gerade sehen, was passiert, wenn ich jetzt eigentlich das Spiel nochmal starte? Komm, wir machen uns den Spaß. Ich habe übrigens noch keine Minute gespielt, aber ich habe jetzt schon dreimal das Spiel gestartet. So. Von Davy Reeden. Der hat übrigens auch The Beginner's Guide gemacht. Okay, bitte passende Regler, dass der Gütergarten noch sichtbar ist. Das hatte mich beim allerersten Mal auch gefragt. Das ist der Helligkeitsregler, den, lassen wir so. Bitte passt Regler so an, dass der Hund und die Katze Freunde werden. Okay. Ja. Ja, ja, ja. Ich habe das Gefühl, es darf nicht zu weit. Ja. Ja, das sollte gehen. Bitte passt den Regler so an, dass die Nummer 5:9 wird. Ihr habt reingeguckt. Bitte passt den Regler so an, bis du aufhörst, den Regler anzumachen. So. Welches dieser beiden ausgedachten Wörter findest du ansprechender? Okoboinkal oder Skrumtusch? Ich wäre für Okoboinkal. Ich wäre für Okoboinkal, aber ist auch nicht so ganz mein Fall. Also, wir machen mal so. Weil es hat Boink drin. Bitte passt den Regler nicht an. Weißt du, welche Uhrzeit es gerade ist? Ja. Ist die Uhrzeit, die es gerade ist, die korrekte Uhrzeit? Ja. Was ist die Zeit überhaupt? Ja. Gibt es etwas über dich, das du mir noch nicht erzählt hast? Ja. Hilfe. Ja. Willst du zurückkommen, um mich zu besuchen? Ja. Ich hätte ja fast Lust, das Spiel nochmal neu zu starten. Aber ich glaube, wir spielen jetzt auch mal wirklich das Spiel, statt die ganze Zeit nur mit den Voreinstellungen. Mann, das Spiel aber ein kleines bisschen leiser. So die Hälfte. Ah, mal 60. Müsst mir sonst sagen, wenn ich das stellen soll. Machen wir hier sowas wie Blur oder sowas? Nee, ne? Gibt auch kein Custom. Also man muss dazu sagen, Stanley Parable ist eigentlich 9 Jahre alt oder so. Einfache Steuerung. Interagieren und Aktion. Interagieren. Was ist jetzt Aktion? Hä? WSDE? Wir haben noch Space mit Springen. Springen fällt hier raus, oder was? Vielleicht, okay, vielleicht ist es ein Übersetzungsfehler. Wir wissen es nicht. Bei dem Spiel kann man sich halt nie sicher sein, ob das ein Bug ist oder nicht. Untertitelgröße? Oh, ich muss es größer machen, glaube ich. Inhaltswarnungen. Aktiviert Warnungen und überspringt Möglichkeiten zu Spielen halten, die von Suizid, Trauma oder psychischen Problemen handeln. Das Spiel ist übrigens kein Horrorspiel, ne? Das sage ich jetzt schon mal gleich. Das ist eher ein lustiges Spiel. Allerdings, naja, soll ich die Trigger Warning sicher mal rein? Also, ich habe das Spiel ehrlich gesagt nicht krass in Erinnerung. Also, ich weiß, dass es da irgendwie so ein Holzschild von einem Baby gab, das auf ein Holzschild von Feuer zugelaufen ist und man musste es immer abhalten. Vielleicht ist sowas gemeint. Sagt mir einfach, falls ich sowas einschalten soll. So. Würde ich sagen, Spiel beginnen. The end is never the end is never loading. Never the end.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor at his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
Oh.
Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Dann finde ich, kann man ein kleines bisschen runterdrehen. Sichtfeld können wir ruhig hochdrehen auf 90. Bisschen runter. Ob es das eigentlich, kann man irgendwie gehen? Einhändige Fortbewegung. Oh. Gehen kann man nicht, man kann nur ducken.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, wir sollen in den Meetingraum. Kann ich Tastaturgeräusche von mir geben?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So, und das ist jetzt... Lauder Garden, danke für dein Follow. Hallo. Das ist jetzt übrigens der Inbegriff davon, also das ist so wahrscheinlich das Markanteste an Stanley Parable. Der Erzähler sagt, verdammt, was hat der Erzähler gesagt? Er hat gesagt, wir gehen durch die linke Tür, ne? Der Erzähler sagt, wir gehen durch die linke Tür. Wir haben aber einen eigenen Willen. Gehen wir durch die linke Tür oder zeigen wir dem Erzähler einen Mittelfinger? Das Spiel ist übrigens, das ist sehr kurz tatsächlich. Es ist konzipiert, dass man es sehr, sehr oft durchspielt. Sehr extrem oft. Beginnend mit unserer ersten Entscheidung. Ich würde sagen, wir machen mal das Mittelfinger. Lass mal zuerst dem Erzähler folgen. Er sagte, wir sollen links gehen, ne? Stanley ist ja noch ein braver Mitarbeiter. Der sagt, oh Junge, lass auf jeden Fall mal links gehen. Hallo Freunde.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Okay, wir gehen zum Chef. Do not alter without consulting Whiteboard Manager. Oh, okay. Okay, nun der Whiteboard Manager. Oh nein. Rest in Peace, Franz. Weekly Targets, IT Department, Weekly Review. Okay. Was interessantes? Marketing Mondays. Termination Tuesdays. We're Broke Wednesday. Mergers. Pranking Floors. Meeting. Office Efficiency. Financial Panic Meeting. Private Time. 451's Private Time. Nur 451 hat da Private Time. Legal. Boss Inspections. Ideas and Development. What to do about 432. Don't tell 432 about me Meeting. OX. Ah, okay. Ja, die 4142, okay. Wenn die einzelnen Gruppen sind da dran. Wir sind 427, ne? Hier quasi mittwochs dran. This box is too small. Sehr gut. 8-Bird. Pre-Review of Weekly Review und Office Party. Freitag 4 Uhr Office Party. Sehr gut. How to solve a dispute with a coworker. Let it ball up inside you. Take it out passive-aggressively on other coworkers. Resent coworkers von... Ey. Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic and a header. And throw some bevel on all... Ey. Everyone is unique. You most of all. Da kann es jetzt ruhig ein bisschen schneller gehen. Danke. Numbers of slides on this slide. Charts and slides und Slides. Das ist der Inbegriff von unnötiger PowerPoint-Präsentation. Rate at which chart on the same slide depict the same information. Rate of increase in graphs per slide. Please, no more charts. Please, I'm begging. The Boss Appreciation Minute. On your Boss Appreciation Minute worksheet, cycle the top 20 things you love most about your boss. Fill out in triplicate and return your Boss Appreciation Specialist. Solving interpersonal conflict. If you ever find yourself in a conflict with another diligent employee like yourself, but more inclined toward conflict unless you're the kind of person. What are your dreams for the future? Mitosis, abode, pollution, less air, hope, clear skin, metamorphosis, travel, lunch, comatose. Tips for not getting fired, talk less, do unbelievable amazing work all the time, every day with no exception of promotion or recognition, don't get fired. How to solve, okay, da waren wir eben. Take it out passive underscore. Resent coworkers for not supporting you more. Let it ball up inside of you. Take it out passive aggressively. Using slides to assure, genau, source on Bewelt. This will ensure a calm and productive work environment. Okay. Oh, Junge. What do people want? Things, money, more money, things, but with money to buy more things. Graphs about things and money. We have our new product. Das ist einfach der unnötiges Büro-Simulator. Violet James, you are fired. Ach so, weil er Happy Feelings aufgeschrieben hat. Uni, ein Satz, 10 Minuten, Klausur relevant, 3 Seiten Text, 10 Sekunden. Stock Market ist somewhere hier. What is hot? Profits, 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 profits. Also ich habe tatsächlich mal für etwas so Fake Charts und sowas entworfen. Also jetzt aus Spaß und für etwas eher RP-Technisches. Das war jetzt nicht, ich habe keine Statistiken gefälscht. Und da habe ich genau so einen Schluss da drauf geschrieben. Ich glaube, der das gemacht hat hier im Spiel, der hatte sehr, sehr viel Spaß. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Who moved my desk? Hire somebody to fire the paper synergizing guy. Ah. Papers are too fire paper guy. Ich weiß nicht, ob Paper Guy gerade da ist, aber falls er es im VOD sieht, würde er sich freuen. Fire Paper Guy. Paper Guy, du bist gefeuert. Oh, der Broom Closet. Sind noch teilweise Memes. Auf jeden Fall.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ja, nicht mal Chris ist hier. Den haben sie wohl rausbekommen aus dem Broom Closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Chef! Chef! Executive bathroom. Oh, Junge. Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss has suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. Sind das Toilettensprüche für Chefs? Das Spiel ist übrigens damals eine Source-Mod gewesen für Half-Life 2. Und nachher gab es dann quasi nochmal ein eigenentwickeltes Spiel und das ist jetzt quasi eine Art Remaster mit erweitertem Content. Quasi. Okay, da geht's wahrscheinlich zum Chef. Chef! Hallo?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled,
Moin, Blatt.
Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Ja, tut mir leid, Stanley weiß es nicht. Also kommen wir wohl nicht weiter. Also ich bin jetzt umgestiegen ins in einem
Stanley
Bürojob.
just sat around twiddling his thumbs.
Nee,
Trying
warte.
to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Der labert jetzt weiter, bis ich das eingebe. Hm?
2845.
Two, 8, 4, 6.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley
Okay.
got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Okay, man kann den Erzähler hier ein bisschen. Was ist denn, wenn wir jetzt 2, 8, 4, 5. Ich hab's rausbekommen. Okay.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Naja, weil unser Job war es. Oh. Nein, nein, nein.
Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Es tut mir leid, Mann. Ich dachte, der wäre kaputt. Ich würde wieder runter. Erzähler.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Also das Spiel, das hast du eben nicht mitbekommen, Blatt. Das Spiel hat mich dazu gebracht, es alleine überhaupt 1000-mal neu zu starten, weil der mir immer wieder gedroht hat mit neuen Reglern, die ich am Anfang auswählen musste. Und er hat mir neue Regler da wirklich reingebaut. Ist unter anderem ein Regler, an dem ich so lange regeln soll, bis ich nicht mehr an dem Regler regeln will. Was? Der Code funktioniert nicht mehr. Okay, Erzähler, Mann. Ich gehe jetzt auch wieder runter, okay? Kein Grund, mich jetzt hier die ganze Zeit zu flamen. Also hier, bei dem Spiel.
Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Das Spiel hat, glaube ich, 1000 verschiedene Enden.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
Ja, gehe ich.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Geht Escape. Wir machen erstmal das, was der Erzähler sagt, okay?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Also ihr merkt langsam, wie das Spiel funktioniert. Der Erzähler gibt mir Dinge vor und ich habe Entscheidungen quasi und kann
Now the
Dinge
monitors jumped to
anpassen.
life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
427, da sind wir doch. Das ist unser Büro. Was ist mit denen, die gefeuert sind?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Nun.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Sagt übrigens der Erzähler, der die ganze Zeit mir vorgibt, was ich tun soll. Nummern werden neu vergeben. Bei uns gab es schon mehrmals das Problem, dass Mitarbeiter dieselbe Nummer hatten. War ich jetzt im Büro, oder was?
Here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Eins, 4, 2, 0, 0. Deuten. Ich habe einen Button mit einer 1 gesehen. Sie wirkt, als wäre das einfach irgendwelche wahllosen Knöpfe. Hier ist noch eine 5. So wurde Stanley zum Rocklom. Oh Junge, Pistazieneis. Okay, wir gehen erstmal in die Facility Power. Awaiting Input. Okay, das ist wahrscheinlich der Grund, dass alle weg sind, weil mein Control ist ausgefallen. So, Stanley ist...
He found the source of the room's power. He knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Danger. Electric. Shock Risk. Okay. Also der will, dass wir das ausstellen, ne? Sagt er. Also der Erzähler sagt, Stanley würde dieses Ding jetzt ausstellen. Also sagen wir, okay. War ein bisschen laut.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Dann wurde er Tankwart. Achievement bekommen. Schlage das Spiel. Und ich habe noch ein Achievement bekommen. Erhalte dein erstes Achievement. Das war Stanley Parable.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ihr
Stanley
merkt,
decided
das
to go
Spiel
to
fängt
the
einfach von
meeting.
vorne an.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Das Spiel ändert sich. Und das Spiel hat wirklich, es hat unfassbar viele Enden an Dingen, die man tun kann. Wir machen jetzt mal das Offensichtlichste und gehen mal wirklich komplett dagegen, was der Erzähler sagt. Allein das hier ist schon etwas, dass ich hier die PCs an- und ausmachen kann. Auch das hat irgendwas damit zu tun mit einem anderen Weg, den man einschlagen kann. Aber wir machen erstmal wir machen erstmal alles, was das Gegenteil von dem, was der Dingens sagt.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nein.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nein.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty of jumping off the cargo lift for $5,000. Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion, will cause death. What?
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Das war der Button wert.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Ganz ehrlich, was habe ich erwartet,
Stanley
was passieren
decided to go
wird?
to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Haben wir erwartet, was passieren wird.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room.
Das was anderes.
Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to
Wenigstens mal ein
consider.
Grund, den Stupid Death Button zu verwenden. So.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nein.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Okay, wir sind wieder da.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Und redet der Mann. Also ihr seht, er versucht jetzt eine Story daraus zu machen, warum ich genau das Gegenteil tue von dem, was er sagt.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Aber wenn ich schon den ersten Schritt machen soll, wieso ruft sie dann an? Ah.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh,
All right.
come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Aber ich wurde zu sehr verärgert, ha?
This
Hallo
is a
Schatz, ich
very
bin zu Hause.
sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Morgen Mitarbeiter 427, drücke U auf deiner Tastatur.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Und Zeit mit den Jungs zu verbringen.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Kriegen jetzt aber die volle Abrechnung dafür, für das, was wir getan haben. Abendessen
As he
vorzubereiten.
wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Deinen Kindern eine Geschichte zu erzählen.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Dir und deiner Frau zu sagen, dass du sie liebst. Ist das ein neuer Teil? Nee, das ist quasi mehr oder weniger ein Rework mit neuem Inhalt.
But there is
Remastered
no
neuem Inhalt.
answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Schlafen zu gehen.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Um morgens zur Arbeit zu erscheinen. Drücken nicht. Haben wir denn eine Wahl? Ich weiß ehrlich gesagt nicht, ob wir eine Wahl haben.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Drücke L, um nichts zu hinterfragen. 24 Stunden.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Habe ich nicht mal was gedrückt. Okay. Müssen wir anders machen. Ich hab die Idee.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Da ist eine verlockende Tür, auf der steht New Content. Aber nein. Ich hab was anderes vor.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace, its subtle charm. No. Stanley knew it was something deeper, something darker. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Kommen wir da eigentlich raus, wenn wir da reingehen? Aufzug wieder, oder?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do. Oh, no, you can't. Did you
doch.
No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Haben wir alles kaputt gemacht scheinbar. Man kann jetzt sogar nicht mehr runterspringen.
Meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality. Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Nein! Nein, 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 nein!
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Okay, ich will ja nicht die normale Story spielen, die hat er schon bekommen. Okay, wir gehen nach rechts. Okay, das Problem ist, okay, wir müssen das Spiel ab jetzt anders manipulieren. Er lässt, ich komme nicht weiter. Okay, wir müssen linken Seite. Wir sind ja jetzt darin geschult, wie man Entscheidungen trifft. Wäre geil, wenn es am Ende das Spiel automatisch, wenn du zu langsam zu schnell bist, automatisch durchspielt oder was? Oh.
It's ruined. I can't believe after
automatisch
everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way.
Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to.
Nein.
I have to.
Nein. Nicht ausmachen.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard.
Die Story war
I
Müll.
tried so hard to make...
Entschuldigung.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that?
Okay, ich habe eine Idee.
Hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Das hier ist jetzt gerade, wir entscheiden uns, wo es etwas anderes zu machen. Okay, er resettet jetzt immer. Er will, dass ich durch die linke Tür gehe. Okay, wir gehen aber noch ein paar Mal rechts. Vielleicht. Er kann mich nicht ewig zurücksetzen.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Mal schauen, ob... Nein, können wir nicht.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story.
Jedes Mal, wenn ich das mache, fällt ein Licht aus, oder?
You'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
müssen wir das auch noch 8-mal machen? Ich schau mal gerade, ob wirklich jedes Mal eine Lampe ausfällt.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would.
Hey, okay, es fällt nicht jedes Mal eine Lampe aus, schade.
Ich
dachte, es wäre eben nur eine Lampe kaputt gewesen.
When Stanley came to a set of 2
open doors,
he entered the door on his left.
Okay. Okay, wir gehen mal hin. Aber das Spiel ist jetzt trotzdem noch kaputt.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Der Dingens wurde abgeschlossen.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
okay, er
office.
zwingt mich jetzt. Ich kann auch nicht runtergehen. Er zwingt mich jetzt. Achievement bekommen, du kannst nicht springen. Aber ich habe doch eine Taste für springen. Das geht nicht. Okay, er zwingt uns. Kommen wir auch nicht mehr rein. Was ist denn hier passiert?
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Nightshark 115.
Stanley spoke the code. Nightshark 115. He
Night?
spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Ich stehe hier. Nightshark 115.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we
ich.
can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Nightshark 115.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your
Mich
respect.
hinsetzen.
The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You
Oder?
had a
Darf ich
choice, you
raushaben?
know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best.
Haben wir alles
choice.
kaputt gemacht.
That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Jetzt so. Neuer Plan.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Unlocking a new content door.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to... Oh no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Nein, diesmal gehen wir runter.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
Bin doch nur nach unten statt nach oben gegangen.
Speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, For just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Kurz. Wir haben nur... Wir sind nur runtergegangen. Wir sind nur runtergegangen. Nicht in das Büro des Chefs. Das sollten wir vielleicht nicht nochmal tun. Ja, direkt voll die Existenzkrise.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Ja. Ein New Content Door. Ich ist es noch nicht an der Zeit.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Wird jetzt einen neuen Run oder?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Er hat den Besenschrank abgeschlossen.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, wir gehen hoch. Weil unten erwartet uns Tod und Verderben. Got a feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. So that's a lovely purse. Extreme bathrooms. Jetzt hat der Chef aber wieder das normale Büro. Der Lärm an den Fenstern war aber vorher nicht da, oder? Oh. Hier ist offen. Was ist der Business Strategy? Okay. Fahren wir nach oben. der Zähler sinkt mit. Ich glaube, das jetzt sonst sieht man. Oh oh. Oh oh. Nein! Ich glaube, ich hab den Aufzug kaputt gemacht. Ich will hier raus. Bin ich jetzt echt im Aufzug eingesperrt? Ja. Das Schlimme ist, bei dem Spiel weiß man jetzt halt einfach nicht, ob das ein Bug oder ein Feature ist. Das ist definitiv ein Spiel, wo man überlegen kann, wo man im Leben falsch abgebogen ist. Geht aber noch weiter. Vielleicht hört es irgendwann von alleine auf. Noch knapp 8 Minuten. Da muss ich rüber. Bis Pen and Paper. Ja, was habt ihr euch so fürs Wochenende vorgenommen? Irgendwas Schönes? Guck, ob das ein Bug ist. Nee, lass mal ruhig gerade warten. Das Lied hat sich noch nicht wiederholt, glaube ich. Es ist nämlich viel zuzutrauen, dass es tatsächlich ein Ende ist. Oder zu einem Ende wird. Man muss vielleicht einfach normalerweise nur komplett einmal warten. Ja. Sonst können wir das, glaube ich, als dämlichen Tod zählen, oder? Wenn ich mich tatsächlich jetzt selbst gesoftlockt habe. Okay, nein, jetzt hat sich das, glaube ich, wirklich wiederholt. Es wiederholt sich. Ich komme auf die gleiche Art raus, wie ich reingekommen bin. Gut, ich glaube, ich habe das Spiel tatsächlich einfach nur verbuggt. Ja.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Ich habe mich ja wirklich mal verfolgt. Ah, wenn die Tür zu oft blockiert, bleibt die hängen. Okay, gut. Da war es wirklich ein Bug. Okay, wir haben jetzt wahrscheinlich an so jedem Monitor hier rumgespielt, der geht. Soll noch mehr sein. Die Reihenfolge wichtig. Ja, vielleicht anhand halt der... Ah, ich verstehe. Das können wir mal ausprobieren. Können wir gerade ausprobieren.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
4, 3, 5. Wir machen das mal der Reihenfolge nach. 4, 2, 4. 4, 2, 1. Die waren es doch immer... War es doch einer mehr, oder? Dann war das doch ein Monitor mehr. Irgendeiner auf dem Awaiting Input stand. Wir machen es mal der anderen Reihenfolge nach. Also, 4, 2, 4. 4, 2, 1 hatten wir, ne? 421. 424. 435. Das ist der 4. Eben waren das immer 4. Ich glaube, es waren 4. Ich hab doch immer einen, auf dem Awaiting Input stand. Ah. Okay, hier kommen wir nur hier
When
hin.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Schaue ich jetzt noch gerade kurz.
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
435.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
435 scheint aber immer an zu sein. 424. 421, aber wieder kein Input. Machen wir uns jetzt nochmal der anderen Reihenfolge nach.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Ah, lass mich mal machen. 424. 421. Der Input ist nicht da. Der mit dem Input, der hatte nämlich tatsächlich, da hat sich immer irgendwas getan, wenn man da drauf gedrückt hat. Wie hoch? Ging gerade nur bei dem einen, ne? Ein bisschen hoch konnten. 1,9 war das. Also einen pinken Balken. Ich meine auch, es wäre 419 gewesen, aber 419 will nicht. Geht das nicht immer? Vielleicht muss 419 an sein, nur dann geht das auch. Gehen wir direkt zu
All of
419.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Nicht an. Naja. Aber wir haben auch mittlerweile schon 46, 47. Ich muss rüber. Deswegen würde ich sagen, das Rätsel lassen wir für ein anderes Mal. So. Ja, ich hoffe... Oh, ich hoffe, euch hat der kleine Einblick in... Das ist ein Bild im Bild. Ich hoffe, euch hat der kleine Einblick zu Stanley Parable gefallen. Ein sehr merkwürdiges Spiel, wie ihr merkt. Ja. Wo ist meine Musik? Die Musik passt, glaube ich, ganz gut. So, dann würde ich sagen, ich rate euch jetzt rüber direkt zum Jingle-Channel, weil da spielen wir nämlich gleich. Ist er schon online? Er ist schon online, ja wunderbar. So, dann, wir sagen, Rate Channel. Da gibt es gleich Pen and Paper. Wir spielen nämlich Deadlands Noir. Und, ja. Das wird, glaube ich, großartig. Kann ich jetzt auch gerade ganz schnell kurz was essen. Und, dann sehen wir uns, also um 20 Uhr geht's los. Und, ja, dann sehen wir uns gleich, würde ich sagen. Ansonsten, beziehungsweise falls Pen and Paper nicht so euer Ding ist, sehen wir uns gerne vielleicht morgen wieder. Mal sehen. Da gibt es aber wahrscheinlich erstmal Rust. Vielleicht davor auch nochmal was anderes. Dann entweder Control, My Summer Car oder Stanley Parable. Ansonsten gibt es morgen erstmal Stanley, Gilbert in Rust. So, dann würde ich sagen, ich hau den Raid an und danke, dass ihr da wart. Viel Spaß euch auf jeden Fall heute noch und vielleicht bis gleich. Ansonsten bis dann. Und lasst euch nicht von merkwürdigen Erzählern irgendwie Dinge vorschreiben. Ihr seid freie Menschen. Das wisst ihr. Ihr könnt selber Entscheidungen treffen. Bis dann. Oder bis gleich, je nachdem.